here for another vlog. I will put a disclaimer on this one. It's not going to be the most positive, uplifting vlog, but I think that it's important. I mean, personally, I hear a lot of people's stories out there, and I think there's very few people actually that I've been able to find either online in like forums or even like people that do YouTube videos that really go into depth about like just the emotional warfare that they have to go through with this disease. And you know, that could just be that, you know, people are in different places with their illness. I think some people have probably mentally, emotionally gotten themselves to a place where they're just like they accept their condition, like where they're at and their limitations, and maybe they've made peace with the person they once were and the dreams they once had, and that's it. And you know, I think, and maybe some other people too are just you know, maybe that's their, you know, their, whether they're blogging or vlogging on YouTube, it's their escape from it. Maybe I think maybe that's part of it. But you know, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys today. I think the past 4 or 5 months have been the worst since I've gotten sick. And what's interesting is that I'm not nearly as sick as I was when I first got sick. And I think when I first got sick, one of the things that helped me was just like the hope that I was going to get over this and make a full recovery and get my life back. And there was all these different things to try and learn, and I knew it was going to be a long road. And I've since pursued a lot of those options and a lot of those paths, and you know, I'll say that I'm at like 60 to 65% better, and it's allowed me to do a lot more. And I apologize if I come off as kind of being like a greedy little bitch with my recovery, because I'm able to do a lot more than most people that will probably watch this. And I do realize that may make me look like I'm ungrateful, but just know that's just where I'm at with my journey so far. And you know, even though I'm able to exercise here and there and ride dirt bikes here and there, you know, I'm working full time, can do chores, I still get really sad. I think one of the things that kicked this all off was last year. I just started backslide with my health, and I've been backsliding this whole year. And it's just like little by little, and I keep getting my hopes up that I'm not backsliding and that I'm actually doing okay, but it's not really the truth. And another thing is that I had a really nasty breakup with somebody that I was dating, and it was so bad that I've personally never been that disrespected by somebody ever in my life. And it was somebody that I loved and cared about, so it felt almost kind of like a betrayal in a sense. But after walking away from it, what I realized is that being sick has really changed my filter for things, and there was a lot of red flags and things that I really should have seen coming, and that situation probably would have been a lot different had I been healthy. I know hindsight is 20/20, but I do believe that. But with as bad as that was, and the other unfortunate part of that is that person that I was dating, I was really close to her family, and that was like my own family. I was actually friends with that family before I was dating her, and that was like my own family out here on the West Coast, and I'm originally from the East Coast, so all my family is out there. And you know, unfortunately, I became sick not too long after I moved out here, so I hadn't met a lot of people or really had a good support group around me, and I was going through my illness all alone. And that was the first group of people that kind of became somewhat like an anchor and a support group for me. It was great, and I'm forever thankful for that, because they came into my life at a time where I really needed them. But because of the way things ended with this person, I'm just not comfortable being a part of that again, or having that person in my life ever again. certain things, like, you can forgive anybody for anything, but there's certain things that are just not excusable. When you cross a certain line, it's just not healthy to have those people in your life anymore. So unfortunately, I had to say goodbye to that support group, and now I'm kind of going it alone again, and it's tough. It's really tough. And about a month and a half ago, I mean, there was just a cascade of events that happened, and like on top of that, in the beginning of the year, it was like a stomach flu or some kind of like food poisoning. I was throwing up for like 3 days straight, so I was really sick. Then not too long after that, my truck, which wasn't all that old, dropped the transmission. It was going to be like $5,000 to fix it, and in my mind, I was just like, I didn't really feel like it was worth fixing it. So then I had to go through the efforts of finding a new truck and wheeling and dealing with people and trying to get a new truck before my old truck was completely undrivable. So I found the truck that I'm driving now. It's an awesome ride. Thankfully, I had the finances to afford it, but not after 2 months of driving it, and only had 17,000 miles on it, and the rear differential went. So now I had to go through the whole jumping through hoops to get this truck fixed. I ended up getting this truck fixed, and during that period of time, I had a trip planned to drive out to Colorado to meet some extended family and meet my uncle, and we had this week vacation plan to go dirt bike riding. And for me, I was stressing about it a little bit because my health wasn't where I wanted it to be, and I was just gonna play it by ear and ride as much as I could, and then just chill if I couldn't ride. But I was all into it. I was into it for the road trip and just seeing my family, and I honestly needed the break from work. I hadn't taken a break from work since Christmas time. But I got a cold. I was really sick for over a week, so couldn't make that trip. Was super bummed about it. Kind of rebounded from that cold, then got bronchitis. And all the while, with this on again, off again, getting these colds, and just overall physically still suffering from the symptoms of my chronic illness, I've just gotten so depressed, and I'm having more and more days where I'm just like, is it worth living like this? What's the end game here, and can I live like this? I realized I needed to reach out and get a psychologist, start working with a psychologist, and I'm definitely not one for like antidepressants. My past experience have caused more harm than they've helped, but I'm just at that point where I feel like I need this. Like, I'm in such a bad place where I'm waking up every day and I feel horrible about my future. I feel horrible about myself, and it's not working for me, and the joy of my life is gone. And even on days where like I wake up and I physically feel good enough to like maybe just go spend a little bit of time in the gym or maybe go ride my dirt bike, I don't want to. It's just like I just feel so miserable. So I went to go see a psychologist. I got one lined up, and I had spent some time trying to find some online, and it's really difficult to find somebody who knows how to deal with people who have chronic illnesses. And I found a couple, but they were out of network and my insurance wouldn't cover it, so I had to find some that were in network. And of course, of the ones that I called, like, one called me back, got hooked up with this guy, and the first appointment went pretty well, and he seemed to have a pretty good understanding of what I was going through, and suggested some things to try, like we kind of went over my past and just some things that I went through in this year, and he's like, you've definitely been through a lot of trauma, and just the illness in and of itself is a huge trauma. So he gave me like this assignment to write down like all my past traumas and some other things, and we were going to try to do this exercise the next time I came in, almost like a form of hypnosis. You know, and I'm like, at this point, it's just like, I'm all out of options. I'm game for whatever. So I did all that, and then I came in yesterday for our next appointment, and it was like he completely forgot about our first appointment and what he asked me to do. And this isn't the first time that I've experienced this with a psychologist. Actually, one of the last psychologists I saw did the same exact thing, and I tested her. I walked in, and I'm like, you gave me an assignment to do. Do you remember what that was? And she had no idea what she told me to do. And a lot of them don't write stuff down anymore either. And I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, well, they're just incredibly smart and they remember everything. No, they don't remember everything. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating that it's so hard to live day to day with all these symptoms. And it's like another thing to try to constantly be your own advocate. Like, you have to be your own doctor. You constantly have to keep on looking at the latest and greatest research, because medical doctors are behind that curve. I mean, for the ones that are out there and are actually trying to treat chronic illness patients, they're so bombarded with patients, they don't even have time to look at this stuff, you know. And it's just like the best person for you right now is yourself, in terms of, you know, finding the latest and greatest treatments. So it's like you got to be a research doctor, and on top of that, it's almost like you got to be your own self-soother, because it's rare that you're going to find a psychologist that can fully empathize with what it's like to live with a chronic illness. And a lot of the ones that are out there, I don't know if they're equipped to deal with that. I mean, I don't think there's really a book written on how to deal with living with a chronic illness. And, you know, it's like, we kind of, I kind of got a little bit frustrated with him. I know he meant well, and he's a nice guy, but, you know, he started comparing my situation to his situation. He's like, well, you know, I'm 61, and there's certain things that I have to let go of because I can't do them anymore. I can't lift like I used to, and, you know, I can't run around like I was when I was a kid. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of not the same thing. When you're 31 years old, you know, and you're struggling with these problems, it's for any of us that are at any age, it's not that you're just handicapped physically. You're handicapped in all areas of your life. And he kind of kept getting hung up on the fact that, you know, I wanted to do physical things, and it's not about just losing the ability to do physical things. It's being handicapped on every facet of your life. You know, if whatever other hobbies you have when you're at work, what your dreams are outside of that, you know, everything is affected by it. And health is truly the foundation to your life and how you experience things. I mean, I don't know anybody that's going to say that if they got the flu, and let's say they went on a vacation and they were perfectly healthy, that they would have the same amount of fun going on that vacation when they have the flu. You know, obviously your quality is diminished. And, you know, you can try to tap into this higher state of Zen and just be appreciative for what you got, and that's great and everything, but facts are the facts. When you feel like shit, you feel like shit. And I know people don't try to undermine that fact, but it is what it is. You know, you can't create something that isn't there. You know, I can't pretend that my quality of life is going to be what it was when I was healthy. I mean, I can change my perspective on that and maybe be more happy with what I've got, but I'll never be able to execute things the way that I was before if I don't get better, if I don't get 100% better. You know, and I hope that's not completely out of the realm of possibility, but I think it's been more and more on my mind that that's just something that I'm going to have to start having to figure out in case I can't get better. But I mean, all that to say, my appointment with my psychologist did not go well yesterday at all, and I left there, I think, even more depressed, just because I didn't feel heard, I didn't feel understood, and it's tough. It's just like, probably the best people to talk to about it are people that are going through it, that can understand what it's like to, like, well, you know, all my past dreams are gone, like, there's a timetable on certain things, and that timetable has expired, so I can't pursue those things, and all my future dreams are on hold, and those may not may not be a possibility. It just may not happen. And on top of all that, you're waking up every day and physically feeling like crap. You're feeling like you're hungover, you've got muscle pains, you've got joint pains. Every time you push yourself a little bit too much, everything gets worse. And you're just like, where's the end to this? It's just like, I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. I haven't figured that out yet. And, maybe in the future I can share some more uplifting things that I've learned. But, for now, maybe that's just something that will resonate with some of you, and some of you can relate to that, just how emotionally hard this is, how emotionally traumatizing it is. It's like, I'm sure some of you guys can relate to this. It's like you wake up and it's just a bad dream. Like, you can't even believe you're living this life. Like, sometimes it's so bad that you can't even believe it's true. And it's like, some people say sometimes reality is stranger or worse than fiction. And it's just like, it's true, man. I just don't, it sucks to have prolonged suffering. Suffering in my mind is great discomfort that you don't know has an end. That you don't know that it's going to end. I've been through about half a dozen surgeries. I've broken 14 bones. I've had a ton of other illnesses, and it's just like, the benefit with all that stuff was that I knew it was going to end, and I knew it was going to get better. And with this, it's just like, you don't know that, and that in and of itself is terrifying, and it sucks, and you don't know how hard to push yourself or not push yourself. You don't know if you should just make that decision to be like, well, I need to stop spending money on the next treatment and the next treatment and the next doctor, and just accept this and get on with my life the best I can. Or, is that admitting defeat, and, now you've just ruined any chance you have of getting your old life back? I don't know, but one thing that I do know is that it is much easier for healthy people to sit there and tell sick people, well, you got to just accept where you're at, and you got to move on, you got to let go of who you were. It's a very easy thing to say, but a lot harder to put into practice. And for me, like, the essence of who I am is a very physical person. The things that bring me the most joy and fill me up the most are physical things. And this is going to sound so, doing before I got sick was cycling, and I love to cycle. I could get on a bicycle and train for 6 hours a day every day. If I could make that my job, I would have. And I was trying to get there and just see where it took me. And I just love it so much. I love being in nature. I love the speed of it. I love setting goals and progressing and learning new things, and just being fit. And in general, it's just like, even outside of that, if something happened and I couldn't cycle, I'd be doing something else that was physical. Before that, I was racing dirt bikes, and I was in the gym all the time, and I still love those things. And it runs in my family. We're just, we love fitness, and it's not even like mild exercise does it for us. We really got to push ourselves, and we get like a really good endorphin hit when we're exercising. So it's something that's like chemically imprinted in me and who I am. And it's just like, it's so hard to accept a life away from those things, or accept a life the way it is now, where it's like, I go out and ride my motorcycle for 45 minutes and I'm pretty much screwed up for the rest of the week. All my symptoms flare and I feel like crap. So literally what I'm doing is I'm living for 45 minutes every week. And then on the times in between that, I'm waking up feeling like crap and working at a job that I'm not really passionate about, and coming home and I feel so crappy that I just kind of have to veg out, and I can't really hang out with my roommates that much or talk to people. I can't really even enjoy anything that I put on TV because I feel like crap. So it's just like, I don't know how to turn that switch off. And it's not like I don't have other hobbies. Like, I write things. I was trying to start a business on the side and was writing articles for my website. But all that stuff gets impaired when I don't feel well, which is most of the time. And you can see it in my writing. When you look at my writing now compared to how it was before I got sick, it's just, there's a big difference. My writing was way more fluid. My language and vocabulary were a lot better, and I just got to the point in a much more eloquent way than than I do now, and it's frustrating to see that. It sucks. And I mean, some other things that I like to do are like play guitar or play video games. That it's just like nothing cures that itch like being able to exercise. And I don't know how to live my life the way that it is now. It's such a hard thing, man. This is like, I heard somebody else, actually, I read somebody else put this in a blog, and they said that chronic illness is like everybody's own personal hell, because it affects you on every level. And it's just like, if you're a painter or an artist and you're having muscle problems and you're tired all the time, and your brain is all fogged up, obviously you're not going to be as creative as you were before, or your hands wouldn't be as steady. If you're a musician, again, like the creativity is probably hampered to some effect, or maybe you're not as coordinated there anymore with your strings. That's like everything gets affected. You know what I mean? If you have a job that requires you to be really physical, obviously, that's greatly impacted. Anything that requires you to use your brain a lot is greatly impacted. And it's, at the end of the day, I mean, one of the things that really adds to all of this is just that there's not many people out there that can really relate to that. And I mean, on one hand, that's a great thing. I'm glad that not a lot of people suffer from chronic illnesses, but on the other hand, it sucks to not be able to talk to people that understand what you're going through, or to be making that effort to reach out for professional care, to get professionals to help you with your situation, and have them not be able to help you. It's tough, man. It's really tough. But that's it for my spiel for today. And again, I'm sorry for the not so positive, uplifting message, but I think my hope is that some of you will hear it and be like, yeah, I totally get you. And somebody else might be going through the same thing. And I'll be honest with you, as much as it would suck to hear how much somebody else is struggling, it's like I understand that struggle, and I feel like I'm not alone in this. And it's good to know that there's other people fighting this battle with you, for sure. I know, at least for me, that helps. But that's it, guys. Rest up, and I hope you guys are having an easy day.